Well, hello, diecast fans. Welcome back. So, as you can probably see by the view through the camera, I've made a few changes. Got a little better lighting, changed the location, and you can probably also see some of my collection off there in the background. That's not an accident. All right, so today I thought we would take a look at, as you can see, I have quite a few of them. Chevy Step Sides. And I've got two generations here. I've got the square body, which is, as you can see, well represented. And then I got two of the previous generation that came before the square body. And they're actually all different manufacturers. And I'm going to go over each of them with you and everything. Some of them have opening features and some don't. And I'll just show you what we got here, okay? So let's dive into it. So let's start with this one here. This is actually a, well, I want to say fairly recent, but see, I think that model's from like 2007 or 2008. So yeah, compared to what I've got here, otherwise, that is fairly recent. 1975 Chevy Step Side by Matchbox. So, in the later years, Matchbox got away from the metal chassis, started putting a plastic chassis on there. But to make up for it, they at least gave it nice shiny chrome plating. Got the little sunroof on there and everything. And they made another version of this truck that actually was a ultra high quality one. It did come with a metal chassis and some more rugged tires. And I want to say it was in either the Lesney series or the Superfast series, but it was a really nice shade of blue. And I used to have it a long time ago, and I don't have it anymore, and I can't find another one. So I may do with this one. I found this one on eBay for a very nice price because, being a current model, it's not too bad. But this has got one little source of irritation that I don't like, and that's the fact that they line the inside of the bed with plastic. I just think that's such a cheap cop-out thing to do. You'll notice on the older ones, their beds are all metal. But yeah, this is a pretty nice little truck. I like the two-tone that they did. A lot of Chevy trucks in that era had that going on. All right, so that was the Matchbox one. Put it back in the camera range here. All right, so the next ones I'm going to show you are all by Yatming. And you know how I feel about Yatming. I love them, but I also don't love the abysmal quality that you sometimes see in them. And I actually have quite a representation of different quality here, too, to show you. Let's start with the brown one. Now, every one of these trucks that I have here, these Yatming trucks, they are all fresh from the blister. Some of these trucks used to have stickers on them, and you can probably imagine after 4 decades of being encased in plastic, those stickers were not sticking anymore, and they were very bad. So I peeled them off. By some incredible miracle, and I don't know how it is doing it, the stickers stayed on the red one. I don't know how it did that. But all the Yatming Chevy trucks all had the little lowering tailgate that goes down. And, fairly detailed grille. Given their inexpensive price point or, even quality standpoint, it's pretty good. I don't remember them making improved versions of these. I think they only made them in this version only, with those skinny wheels that are kind of prone to breakage. This one's got a couple of defects. It's got a paint blemish up here. And remember, this is fresh out of the package. And you can hear that clicking. The chassis is very, very loose. So this is one of those Yatmings that was dangerously close to just coming apart right out of the package. All right. So the red one. This one was actually in a gift pack that came with 2 other vehicles, a brown Mercedes and a black Trans Am. And I can't wait to show you the black Trans Am because it is sweet. And the fact that I found a Trans Am that perfect is actually pretty cool. So it's got a nice, pretty red color. The flames of this, like I said, it's the only one where the stickers decided to stay intact. You might notice the rear bumper is a little bent. That's one of the defects. The tailgate goes down, but it's kind of rough. It's not as smooth as the other ones. And it's got an okay grill on it. There's some defects on there. One of the biggest defects, however, is right here. I'll show it to you if it'll show up in the camera. So you can see daylight through between the hood and the grill there. That's a casting defect. The casting didn't quite get all the way full there. That's another hallmark of Yatming quality. See, the tailgate's kind of crooked, bumper's crooked, and when the tailgate goes back up, it's a little rough too. But you know what? From a distance, I have to say it's actually a nice looking truck. It's pretty sharp. And I just, always like these Yatming cars. I always, one thing I never understood is like Matchbox and Hot Wheels never made a proper looking Chevy square body. Hot Wheels had this truck called the Bywayman. And to me, it doesn't really look like a genuine square body Chevy truck. It looks like almost like a caricature, a cartoonish version of a Chevy square body. And I'll show that to you in a future video. It doesn't look like these. See, these, despite how cheaply and badly made they are, they have decent details and they're very faithful to the original. All right, then we got the little yellow one. This is another one that, this came in a gift pack also. This was a different gift pack. It came with like little gas pumps and a couple of actually big rigs that I have over there on that table. Of all the Yatming square bodies I have, this is probably my best one. It's really nice, this one. Almost no paint defects, no casting defects. Nice tailgate that drops down. Nice bright yellow color. Really stands out. I think there's a couple of small nicks on there because, like I said, Yatming's paint is so cheap, And sometimes they lay it on really thick and other times they lay it on really thin. I don't know. It really depends how they do it. And then for the final Yatming Chevy square body, we have the black one. And this one's got a couple defects. The paint, chassis is a little crooked. This one, oddly enough, has a feature the other Yatmings don't. The other Yatming trucks have the steering wheel is molded into the interior, and it's the same color. This one has a separate individual steering wheel that's snapped in place and molded in black. It's the only one like that, and I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe it's an older unit. That's probably why. I do know that Yatming probably wore the tooling out of these trucks because they made multiple versions of these trucks. I mean, there's a sky blue one out there. There's a white one. There's a couple of them out there. But I always just like these. They're pretty nicely done. The little tailgate actually says Chevrolet on it. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. On the black one, it kind of washes out a little bit. But they all got the nice little flip down tailgate. And yeah, like I said, they're pretty nice despite the fact that they're a little cheap. They're fun. All right, let's look at the final square body I have, which is the best one I've got, I think, other than the Matchbox. This is a Tomica Pocket Cars version. They made this in a couple versions, Tomica. Let's see, there was this one here. They had one that was blue with a roll bar, and there was also a yellow one with red flames going down the side with a roll bar. That's the one my brother had. That was one of his favorites. But this was always my personal favorite. And there was also a wheel variation. You'll notice this one's got white hubs. There was a version that had gray hubs that kind of matched the little camper shell on there. And this is very nicely detailed. I mean, you can see how just nice and detailed the grill is. The tailgate actually says Chevrolet, but it's hidden by the camper shell. And the camper shell is kind of riveted in there. Got the nice opening doors. The classic Tomicas with their nice smooth opening doors. That's a very nice casting. Shows very well. Kind of wish they would have done a tan interior instead of a black one. That would have been more appropriate for the brown color. But it's very nice. It's one of my most favorites I've got. All right, so now we're going to go on to the other two, the final two here. Now, these are made by Zylmex, and they are the not second generation, the generation that came before the square body, the 67 through 72. Based upon the grill on these trucks, I'd say they're a 71 or 72 version. They probably didn't pay for the licensing, so that's why they didn't put the bow tie on there. But this was my brother's, one of his absolute most favorite trucks. He loved this thing. These trucks also fresh from the blister, just like all of these are. The thing is, they came with stickers too, and they were very tacky stickers, and they were falling off. And despite the fact that they were falling off, I still had to take Goo Gone after the remnants that's left behind. That was kind of annoying. But one thing I did notice about this, my brother's truck on the base, okay, you'll notice this one's got a painted base, and it says Chevy Step Side right here. See that little block off right there? That's where it used to say Zylmex, and for some reason on this one they blocked it out. So this must be a later version. The one my brother had years ago, it had a unpainted raw metal base, and it actually said Zylmex right there. So that's kind of weird that they did that. But it's got a decent grill with the headlight bezels. They did a nice job with that. Tailgate has holes in it because it used to have this tacky, awful looking bed cover that I discarded, and it snapped into those holes. So unfortunately I have that left behind. And they were so cheap. I don't know if you can see it, but they couldn't even be bothered to put a steering wheel or dashboard in there. It's like, really, guys? That's kind of sad. But, from a distance, it's not bad. It's got a couple of nicks in the paint, and yes, those were in the car, or the truck rather, when it came out of the blister. I mean, with these cheaper die casts made in Hong Kong, that's what you got. But like I said, they always did interesting subject matter. They did versions of vehicles that nobody else did. That's why they were a lot of fun. They got the black version here. This one is about the same condition as that yellow one. There's a couple bubbles in the paint up here on the roof. It had the same thing with the tacky bed cover. Same thing with the stickers. But it's got a nice grille. And the black paint really shows well. And also, this version of these wheels that you see on here, that's the earlier wheels. Later on, they went to those more spoke style wheels, like I showed you on that silver Mercedes that time. And they were sold in a package that said Rough Riders on them. That was the brand that they used for the trucks. And then this one, as you can see, it's got that same black painted base with the Zylmex name blocked off. So, not sure why they did that. That's kind of strange. But, yeah, so that pretty much rounds out the Chevy Step Side collection I've got here. I know a lot of you guys love these trucks. I do too. They're pretty cool. My brother is probably just a rabid fan of them, especially these older ones like this. Just absolutely loves them. He's had several actual real trucks that he's fixed up. But yeah, I'm just enjoying showing you guys the collection, and always feel free to put your comments in there. Tell me stories about your die-cast or your real vehicles you put in there, you've had, and whatever the case is. But hope you enjoyed it, and you guys take it easy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.